Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from who do well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000, the rest of the elect. Unto you I say shalom. Coming to you back with another Let's Do the Spirit. And I'm going to entitle this one, This Current World It's Not for the Elect. Because the elect would not fit in, really, before they came into this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, before Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua woke them up to the truth. The elect never really fit in with this current world, from how this life has you live, from, you go to school for 12 years and you're able to get a so-called better job. You got to go to school for another 4 years or maybe even longer, just because Esau, even the so-called white man, has indoctrined mainly the people here in America, Babylon the Great, to follow after this beast system. Get a job, you go to college, you get a job, you get your degree, then you can get a good job, and you get a happy wife, happy life, you get the kids with the white picket fence. But ultimately, now that the system's collapsing and is being made evident that the American dream is dead, that it was always a scam and a dream, now majority of the people upon the planet Earth are waking up to the fact. But the elect have always kind of felt that something was wrong with the system, that something was wrong with this world. And ultimately it is, because this current world is being ran in complete wickedness, because the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, is in rulership, which the Edomites, the so-called white people, they're the sons of the wicked, the sons of Satan, the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. So really, in order to thrive in this society, you have to do wickedness. You have to sell out. You have to so-called sell your soul, and ultimately, majority of the people upon the planet Earth, really, they're already worshiping the image of the beast. They're already worshiping the beast. They're just waiting for the MOTB to get made mandatory, for them to just bow down completely and take that physical charagma, the MOTB, the microseha. And majority of the people up on the planet Earth, they're going to take it, because this is all they know. Babylon the Great. Go to work, eat, drink, marry, bread and circus, and all these different distractions that these people are so used to. It's going to be nothing for them to bow down and take that micro seah. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 8 and verse 1. And he answered me, saying, the Most High had made this world for many, but the world to come for few. And this current world, Babylon the Great, America, this beast system, really is for majority of the people upon the planet Earth. Because the elect, we know that this place isn't the end all be all, but majority of they have that mindset. Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, this is as good as it gets. That's why they're trying so hard to so-called make it in life, to achieve something. Going to college, or Jake wants to be a rapper, a celebrity, a ball player. But ultimately, we know that the system is collapsing, and that very soon, for you to be able to participate in this society, you're going to have to take that microseha. And that's why majority of the nation of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they're not going to make it to the kingdom of heaven on the first go around, because the world to come, the next world to come, the next rulership, that's going to be ruled by the nation of Israel, starting with Yahushua, who everybody ignorantly calls Christ, and the elect of the nation of Israel, the 144,000, and the rest of the 1/3. But the rest of these 2/3 Jakes and these heathens, they're not going to partake in a government body in the kingdom of heaven. It's right around the corner. This is Micah chapter 2 and verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sword of destruction. And we know how polluted this world really is, this system. Because now that we've been awakened to how the earth is really supposed to be ran, with the laws, statutes, commandments being at the forefront, this world is being ran in the complete opposite of the laws, statutes, commandments at the forefront. Is being ran in that do as thou wilt spirit. That you can do whatever you want, eat whatever you want, do whatever you want, and ultimately, really, that agenda is mainly being pushed on Jake, because Jake is the one that can sin, and that's why Esau Edom pushes that filth on Jake. Eating abominable foods, committing adultery, and worshiping all these different idols and gods. Jake out here eating GMO food and drinking this water filled with chemicals and metals and pesticides. So this current world is polluted in every shape, way, and form. So ultimately, we know that we got to get the hell up out of here. That if we was to stay here for another couple decades, we would be through. That's why Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai is speeding up the days, because of how polluted this current world is. But yet Jake wants to stay here. They want to stay in America. They want to continue to eat Popeyes and look at Netflix and BET and WorldStar. This is Matthew chapter 7 and verse 13. Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereof. And the elect, they're going to be going in through that straight gate. They're going to be going through that path that has fire on one side and deep waters on the other. Because ultimately, that's the road to the kingdom of heaven. While majority of Jake, these 2/3 and these heathens, they're not going to take that straight gate. They're not going to go through the trials and tribulations, because it's too hard. That's why majority of these people up on the planet Earth, when that MOTB gets made mandatory, they're going to bow down. They're going to take it, because they're going to be through, because they ain't prepared physically, spiritually, mentally. They ain't get their spirit right. So when that hour of temptation comes, it's going to be nothing for these people to take it, because they're so used to these comforts. They're so used to the broad way. But ultimately, we know that that's going to lead to the second death, the lake of fire. It says, verse 14, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be to find it. So majority of the nation of Israel, they're not going to wake up to this truth, because it wasn't meant for them. The knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, repentance, the whole nation of Israel will be in the kingdom of heaven and in their right minds and in the new bodies. But it's going to start with the first fruits, with the elect. Those are the ones who are going to get it on this side and are going to be delivered, while the rest of these people, these 2/3 Jakes and these heathens, they're going to continue to live how they've been living until they get destroyed. This is John chapter 15 and verse 18. If the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. And that's right. Ultimately, the reason why these people can't vibe, with us, with the hopeful elect, the man of the Lord, because of the vibration we come with. Because, we may move through our daily lives, going to work, driving, going to the grocery store, whatever you may be. People sense that the spirit of us, the hopeful elect, is different, because they see the light shining on their darkness. That's why majority of Jake get offended, because we shine that light upon all their wickedness. We tell them to stop going off, to stop committing adultery. But what does Jake do? They continue to go off, they continue to talk shit. And that's why Jake gets offended, because they don't want to hear about Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. They don't want to get rebuked. They don't feel good to get rebuked. But ultimately it's needed, but Jake don't want to hear it. And that's why ultimately, back then when Yahweh Shai was on the scene during his time of his ministry, Jake hated, Yahweh Shai. And they're in that same state today, hating his messengers, his prophets. next verse. Verse 19. If ye were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. And that's why majority of these people up on the planet Earth, especially here in America, Jake, these 2/3 the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they're the main ones who come against the truth. They come against Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. They come against the prophets on the highways and byways. They're the main ones who can't get with the message because they're so used to this world. When we tell them that it's going to be destroyed, that the dollar's going to collapse, that all hell's about to break loose, it offends them. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear about prosperity, then America's going to be okay. You know, it's not going to be destroyed. That's what Jake wants to hear. But when we come with the true message of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, Jake gets offended. You know, they don't want to hear that America's going to be destroyed by thermal and nuclear missiles. They don't want to hear that they're going to have to go through that straight gate to get to the kingdom of heaven. This is Ezekiel chapter 9 and verse 4. And the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the man that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And that's what the elect are going to be doing in these last days. They're going to be crying out to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua to judge these wicked ass people, to judge this wicked ass place, to bring Esau, Edom down, you know, and ultimately to deliver us from this captivity, while the rest of these people, these 2/3 Jakes and these heathens, they don't care about being delivered. They don't care about America being destroyed. No, they instead they want America to be healed. They want America to bounce back, you know, pre-2020, so they can go back to their wickedness. Because really that's why Jake is complaining along with these heathens, because now they're feeling the squeeze, they're feeling the inflation. But ultimately, they don't really care that Esau, Edom, the wicked in rulership. No, they don't care about all the wickedness that goes on around the planet Earth. And ultimately, that's why they're not going to be spared when Yahweh Bashim Yahushua releases the four winds. The only ones who are going to be kept from these upcoming plagues, the sword, pestilences, are going to be the elect, because the elect are the only ones crying to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua to bring this wicked ass place down and establish the kingdom of heaven, while the rest of these 2/3 Jakes, they're not crying out to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua to you know, deliver them and bring the kingdom of heaven up on the planet Earth. This is Romans chapter 12 and verse 2. And it reads, and be not conformed to this world. And the elect, they're not conformed to this world. They're not okay with how this world's being ran, you know. But the rest of these 2/3 Jakes, no, they're conformed to this world. They're so used to this wickedness that they don't even mind it. You know, they just wink at all the wickedness that goes on around. You know, they're okay with, you know, this beast system and the LG alphabet agenda, and they're okay with Esau, Edom being in rulership position. You know, but ultimately the elect, they're not in that spirit. They're not okay with this current world. It says, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. What's the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua? To destroy America, to bring Esau, Edom down, and ultimately to deliver his elect. But ultimately, that's why the elect are going to get delivered, because the elect, they're not of this world. They're not looking forward for this world to continue. They're looking forward towards the kingdom of heaven being established upon the planet Earth. You know, but that's pretty much the point. I pray this is edifying to the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Bashim Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all in this truth from